Welcome to the Rural Dispatch, the podcast delivering stories from rural America. I'm your host, Allie Behrens. Headquartered in rural Iowa, I help run a nationwide livestock transportation company, and I'm here to bring you stories from the people who help shape this industry and our rural communities. Whether you're a trucker, livestock producer, or rural entrepreneur, this show is for you. Each week, we explore the realities of rural business life, from the highways to the fields and everything in between. So buckle up and let's dive into today's episode. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Rural Dispatch. Today's episode is a continuation from last week's conversation with Mark Toms, and I will be honest with you, there is very little valuable information here, but there are quite a few good laughs. Some of these stories were just too good not to share, so while you might not walk away from this episode any wiser, I hope you can at least relate to some of Smoke and Mark's stories. That said, there is something to take away from this. If nothing else, this episode is a reminder that you can come from nothing and still make it with a little hard work and determination. Some of the best memories come from the struggle, and sometimes the hardest years are the ones that shape you the most. I also want to take a second to talk to the parents listening. It's easy to want to give your kids the best of everything. I think we all do. We want to make sure they never go without and that they never struggle. But I think stories like the ones you're about to hear are proof that kids don't always need the best of everything to turn out all right. In fact, sometimes not having it all is exactly what makes them hardworking and resourceful. And there's something to be said for learning how to make do and how to work for what you want and push through when things get tough. And if you need proof of that, I'll just give you the Cliff Notes version of Smoke's story, and maybe on a later episode we'll get into this. But he didn't inherit a successful business. His dad actually went broke, and they had to auction off all of his equipment, and Smoke found a way to buy it back, and the only reason he pulled it off was because his banker lent him 100% of the money. So he really started with a less than zero and had no safety net and no easy way out, and they built this business back from nothing. Mark and Smoke both went from running hard to running multi-million-dollar businesses, and they will be the first to tell you that it hasn't always been that way. So if you're broke or crashing on someone's couch or borrowing money from your in-laws just to get by, this one's for you. These two have been there, and if nothing else, let this be proof that you can come back from it. Keep working hard every day and you'll make it. Find something you love doing because that's what'll keep you going when things get tough. And maybe, and most importantly, don't be afraid to struggle a little bit because it builds character.
Now we're telling stories.
I was just telling you earlier how you got your name.
Oh.
Smoke.
What did he ever tell you how I got my name?
I told Katie. I remember sitting right at the 7130 stoplight, and we were in that W900 red. I don't remember what year it was, but it was a sweet truck.
That was 96.
96.
I'm pretty sure.
And it had the smoked bug shield on the front, big tall ones like you guys used to run, and it said Smoke. I said, how do you ever get his name? He said, we were sitting around the shop, and I want to say in Breda. Did you guys have a shop in Breda?
We used to have a shop in Breda when I was young. I mean, I was like kindergarten.
The old timers used to sit in there and say, man, you take your eyes off him, he's just like smoke, disappears. And that's how you got your name.
Gotcha.
God, we were talking the other day. You want to talk about a great story? I think it was Jeremy who was talking about it again with the no GPS back in the day and the phones. I'll never forget this. Your dad called me and Katie. God forbid we didn't enjoy the weekend, but it was a weekend. And he calls, he goes, I got this hot load. Truck's hooked up. Got to have you go get it. Okay, where are we going? He goes, just outside Council Bluffs. Okay. He said, but you have to be there at 12:30. I said, why at 12:30? He goes, just you have to be there at 12:30. We come wheeling in there. And I was like, there ain't no way we're in the right place. This horse ranch. Okay, this guy comes out. He goes, back up to the chute, back up to the chute. And I told Katie, what? And she's with me. She's like, what is going on?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. We had to load these horses in like 15 minutes before the riders come back.
Yep.
And we're out to the deal. And Katie's like, I know a shortcut. I've been on this road. I know a shortcut. Take her word for it. And we're hauling ass down this road. I'm hauling ass. I'll never forget. It was a Sunday. And all we had to do is bring him back to the yard. Your dad was going to take him out to Illinois or wherever they were going. And everybody's flashing their lights at us. Well, my lights are working. If your trailer lights weren't working on the wagons back in the day, that wasn't out of the normal. Well, we come around this curve, and I locked that son of a bitch up.
Low bridge.
And I'm looking at Katie, and my eyeballs are as big as cucumbers. The horses are God knows where in the trailer. And I looked at her, and I said, Are you sure we're on the right fucking road? Well, what are you going to do now? I said, I don't know. You're the navigator. You tell me. We ended up heading the back all the way up down that road, around the curves. Oh, it was a nightmare. But you want to talk about, thank God for phones and GPS at this point.
Yeah.
Low bridge, man. I mean, we stopped it. It had been 6 inches from clearing the stacks off that truck. And we got back, and them horses were so spooked up. They would not come off that freaking trailer.
That farm's gone. He sold that to...
just last year, right?
Yep, just last year. Yep. He retired and sold it. What did they say it's going to be?
I think it's just going into like a conservation.
Yep, I think you're right.
Some sort. I don't remember exactly.
We know a guy that used to trade horses with him and whatever, and he was telling us about it. He went down to help with the auction, and he sold it to whoever it was to keep it like a park or conservation for this amount of money. But he could have sold it for,
Buku bucks,
4, 5, 10 times more.
And that was the deal. Somebody wanted to develop it so close to the city.
Yeah, for development ground. And he's like, nope, not going to do it. I'm going to keep it so it's halfway natural.
Yep.
It's like, that's pretty cool. The guy probably just missed out on about $50 million.
Yep.
He just said, nope, not going to do it.
Yep.
Not going to develop this ground. It's like, that's pretty awesome, actually.
God, I was laughing so hard, Smoke. You'll remember this. You were talking about your cool Freightliner you had. Remember? I remember when you got that truck. I remember the exact conversation. And do you know where the first place you took that truck was? I remember you backed it in our driveway on Olive Street. And you said, we got to at least take them wings off. And we spent all day Saturday pulling them fairing wings and all that shit off there.
I don't remember
that. You were so mad. So mad.
Oh, I was mad.
I got memories for that. That's when I blew my nutsack out when we went to Montana.
That's right. Now we're getting to the
legit.
Good stuff.
You were there.
I was there. So we all used to own motorcycles. All of us did. So my dad turned a 53-foot dry van
Another one of
into
his great ideas.
Yep, into a hauler.
Yeah.
You know what? It was a good idea.
It was badass.
He took it to the welding shop, had this big ramp put on the back, had channel locks put down the center so you could ratchet strap your bikes down. And we went on motorcycle trips everywhere. I mean, we went to
Florida.
We went to the Keys. I remember we drove it to Fort Lauderdale, unloaded in Fort Lauderdale. We went to Montana. We went to Colorado. We hauled the bikes to Fort Morgan.
Yep.
So there was always
train.
Yep. We took the train. So there was always somebody that drove the truck. The somebody pretty much being me and you.
Yeah. He had that rigged from the get-go on the pull the straw.
Yeah, that somebody was always me.
And it's always been a disaster. Who forgot their license coming out of Florida? Was it you?
Yeah, no. Doug Filmer.
Oh, the billfold. Yeah, he got TSA to take him in front of the airport line with no license.
Yeah, at this point, we're just going to start telling stories. But we have been everywhere. But back to Doug Filmer. Doug Filmer forgot his billfold in his motorcycle. I remember, I wasn't even 21 yet. And we're headed north out of Florida. And they call him and they say, where are you at? And we're like, well, we're up in Georgia. And they're like, Doug forgot his billfold in his bike.
Yeah, we're flying out.
And we're flying out. He can't, they won't let him through TSA because he don't have his license.
And anybody knows Doug, he could sell ice to the Eskimos.
And you remember Dixie's dad?
Oh my God. He was going to fly down and get him.
He had a plane and he was going to fly to Florida and pick Doug up. And Doug just said, ain't no way.
He would be a hobo in Florida before he got in the plane with their dad. But yeah, he goes to the airport, tells him, I don't have no license. And they literally escorted him ahead of all the lines and put him on the plane. Yeah. Who the hell does that ever happen to?
So we've been to the Keys, and then we went to Colorado. Remember, we drove the motorcycles to Fort Morgan.
Because your dad wanted to take the train.
Yeah.
Big train experience. This is a note to any listeners. Do not ride the train.
Oh, we hated the train. We had a horrible experience.
Another bad experience, but not. Remember, I slept on the floor. You got the bed upstairs.
I did. So we boarded the train in Omaha.
About 5 hours late because the train's always on time.
That's what I was going to say. I think it was about 8 hours late, actually.
If you've never been to the train station in Omaha, it ain't a place you just roam around down there.
Yeah.
And then you drop the mail off all the way to Colorado. Jesus, trip from hell.
And then I remember we get back to Fort Morgan to get on the train to come home, and it was late again. And we were all like,
No way. We're
having
renting
it.
a car.
We went and rented like 3 cars.
Besides 2 or 3 people are like, nope, we're taking the train. I remember being home, showered, slept all night, and that train was still not back to Omaha.
So that was our Colorado trip story.
Yeah, this is a story worth telling.
Yep, let's get to
this sweet Freightliner. I get home trucking. I got the short straw. You guys already took off. Were you in the limo?
Oh, yeah. So we took off with the limo. You drove the truck.
Yes.
So we all packed in the limo.
Yep.
And we headed for Rapid City. That's where we moteled up for the night. And we let you catch up with the semi.
Yeah.
So we spend the night in Rapid City. Well, you're coming across South Dakota. You stop to do whatever, and you open the back doors to check on the motorcycles, and one had fallen over.
Yes. Multiple.
Oh, a couple had fallen
Because
over.
when they put the screws in the floor, they just put regular screws in them instead of anchoring them all the way down to the floor, and the floor came up. The channels on the floor.
Okay.
And I tried picking it up and instantly regret that. And I laid in the back of that trailer at that rest area for hours.
Oh.
Until finally a husband and wife pulled up and they're like, you okay? And I said, I don't think so. I said, but I can't get these bikes up. So I remember them putting them back up and we strapped them in there the best we could. And I got back in the truck. And by the time I got to Montana or wherever I met you guys.
Okay, you met us in Rapid City.
Yeah. And I remember you saying, where have you been? And I said, I can't get out of the truck. Like, you got to help me out of the truck. And I remember having my pants down. And Smoke's like, oh, whatever. And I pulled them out. I've seen slow pitch softballs smaller. Remember? And then we went to the motel. I blacked out in the shower when the water hit them.
So,
Remember?
no, I don't.
Tore that shower curtain out. I had to call you.
Hold on a second. We make it to Bozeman, and you're dying. Your balls
Slow
are
pitch
just
softballs at this point. I swear to God.
huge.
There's pictures somewhere.
And I remember looking at him like, yeah, we got to get you some help.
Well, this is what I call the Behrens Black Cloud, by the way.
Yeah, well, we've got a few of those stories with
Yes.
you two, especially.
Oh, God.
So we go to the emergency room, and me and you. Did Katie even come with on this trip?
No,
She
she was
didn't.
not with.
Okay.
I'll never forget your dad, too. He goes, it can't be that bad. And I here they are, big boy. I don't think he finished his breakfast after that.
So I remember we went to the emergency room. I don't really remember what they ended up doing. I mean,
They just slit and took the pressure off it and drained it, and then they gave me all that Vicodin and everything else. But I had to ride the rest of the trip.
Of course, none of us own motorcycles anymore.
No.
We're way over that stage of life.
Well,
But
the kids are gone. It's happening again.
Oh, but we
Oh.
do own a boat. Tell them about your first boat, you two.
The Behrens Black Cloud?
Yeah.
why do we have to tell everybody everything?
Listen, I'll tell it because I'll never forget this song. Me and Smoke decided to be boat owners.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
like, let's buy a boat. Neither of us could afford it
No.
by ourselves.
Brand new red and white boat.
We were really something. We were pretty cool.
And we were pretty proud to back it in the slip at Lakeview. I remember it was a Saturday too. Busy. It was like noon.
In front of everybody.
I said, Smoke, let's show these yaks how we back this shit in. They're sitting there 10-9 times, backing up, pulling ahead. I told Smoke, I'm just going to jump in the boat. You just back me in. We'll be right out of here. I'm sitting in the boat and Smoke starts backing up. I hear that. Smoke flipped the ratchet on the strap on the front of the boat, backing downhill. And we had a roller trailer. And literally, the boat rolled off the trailer, landed on the concrete,
On the concrete.
right in front of everybody.
You know what? But it was the first back.
Yep. And this is how pissed off and embarrassed we were. We had no idea the damage. I told Smoke, just keep pushing that thing with the trailer. And we pushed it into the water.
Yeah.
And we
Yes,
boated
did.
the rest of the day with no lower end because all the oil drained out, but the water was lubricating. Called the insurance lady. We got it back on the trailer. And she goes, well, how many hours are on it? I said, 0.5. She goes, you got to be shitting me. 0.5 hours.
So, like all lessons,
You never forget the expensive ones.
like all lessons, hard lessons learned. That is our first
Yep.
boat experience.
They were standing there, just flip the strap.
I just flipped the strap switch on the ratchet and I started backing it in. And once it started going downhill, that roller trailer, it just rolled
my
right
God.
on.
right in front of everybody, right in Town Bay.
I still cannot drive a boat. You are a good boat driver, but
Not a necessity.
Right,
Hopefully
yeah.
our kids can drive it because I'm to the point now where I just want to go get hammered on the lake. Somebody else deal with this.
yeah. And we do have a place at the lake.
This is the year we're going to use it.
You think this is the year?
This is the year. This is the year.
We're going to be up there every weekend.
This is the year. Golf cart mafia with all the old people up there. Did you see that letter? they catch anybody's kids riding underage, they're going to jack your rent up or something. I said, oh my God, we will fight this tooth and nail.
Right.
It's okay to say, if we have to buy these people out of their trailers, what are the kids hurting going around that circle?
Absolutely nothing. There's need something to complain about, apparently.
Well, it's a trailer park, so you get what you pay for.
Well, yeah.
Not
We
just
do.
a trailer park. It's a memory park. We build memories there.
I feel like we just kind of scathed over the Lanesboro house.
Oh,
Was it
here's-
bats?
Oh,
that's what. No, yeah. So we were trucking, and we did have bats because me and Smoke never finished the sheetrock and the ceiling. We just left it kind of exposed. And this is the best. I get home from trucking. I think were you trucking at the time?
I was trucking.
And we had that $5,000 TV. Remember, I was playing PlayStation.
Yeah, buddy.
And a fucking bat flies right over my shoulder, and I jump like a little girl. Smoke sleeping on the couch. I'm in the recliner. That PlayStation remote, it had to have hit the ceiling. Smoke woke up, thought the house was on fire. What? I said, fucking bats. Katie's sleeping. I remind you, this house is the size of maybe a person's home office.
Yeah. It
We're
is.
in close quarters.
It is.
We're
It was very
literally-
friendly.
We literally jump in bed, and I have the sheets pulled over top me like I'm hiding from my parents in the middle of the night. And Smoke's next to me. Katie's going, you get it. Who's going to get the bat?
Yes. So she's got a tennis racket. We got a broom.
Oh, God.
I mean, that town just hated us.
Hated
It's like
us.
middle of the night. We're outside and we're chasing
Screaming.
this bat. And everybody's screaming.
So then we were gone. It happened again. And Katie had to go to the bar and get the drunks to come get the bat. And she told us, she said, I swear to God, if one more bat flies through this house and you guys are gone, I'm selling them. And I remember it happened, and she called the realtor. It was like 48 hours. Somebody bought the house and like, you have 48 hours to move out. We didn't take anything with us. Like, it's yours.
Just keep it.
Yeah. Let me remind you, the first 6 months we lived there, we had the shit in the garage. Remember, I made a homemade shitter out of 2x4s and this
I remember.
pink soft toilet seat
On a
and we
5-gallon
shit into
bucket.
A 5-gallon bucket.
Man, do we have stories of that
Oh,
place.
God. And they hated us.
Oh, that town hated
The
us.
bar hated us. I remember being in college and all my buddies being there. We'd be spending every dollar we had, and they would throw us out. They wouldn't even let me enter the euchre tournaments over there.
You remember teabagging me?
You gotta tell these people about that.
That wasn't even a teabag. Me and you were both trucking.
Yep.
We get home from trucking. It's just one of them weeks, just the long week. You're tired. And I remember I fell asleep
Yep.
on the living room floor, no pillow, passed out on the floor. And I remember you hollered, you're like, Smoke, get up. And I mean, I sat straight up.
Full
And-
nose right into the crack of my ass. Ball sack dangling from his chin like a hood ornament. They were back to normal size by this point.
Yeah, man.
Oh.
But that house for sale again. I think for a 6-pack of beer and a pack of smokes, we can probably get that thing bought.
Did we have snakes in that dirt basement?
Terrible.
Terrible
I was-
snakes.
I was
That's what I
terrified.
thought.
And then the water heater would go out every other day and have to go down there as a pair. Like you watched.
Here's the other thing
corner.
about that house. That house had fuel heat.
Oh my God. I blew myself
Do
up.
you remember?
Yes.
We had to get
Diesel
fuel,
fuel, yes.
hauled in.
No.
That house had
Yes.
fuel. It smelled like diesel
Diesel
fuel in that house nonstop.
I remember asking the neighbor, like, I don't even know how to light this goddamn thing. And there's this glass window, and literally you'd light paper and throw it in there and hope for the best. And I remember the one time we went kaboom, and the glass on it rattled. And Kay's like, I'm done. We took it out, and then I had to put the dang furnace in. I thought that was the Widowmaker when that son bitch went kaboom.
I mean, there's just so much about that house. Man, we lived together for a lot of
A
years.
long time. Well,
I mean,
basically,
well,
from you were
I-
16. or
I was
15?
definitely in high school when I moved in with you guys, and it started in Lanesboro. Then we put that house for sale, and none of us had anywhere to go.
No.
But like you said, we had to be out in like
literally.
a couple days.
And they were negotiating, like, we want the propane tank. It's yours. Do you want me to take my underwear out of the hamper? It's yours. We are out.
Yeah.
We are out.
You and Katie moved in with your parents.
Yeah, because we just got engaged. We were going to get married.
So you and Katie moved in with your parents, and then I ended up moving in with Pootie
in that house north of town.
in that farmhouse north of town. Yep. And then once you guys bought the house on Olive,
Yep. And then you moved back in there.
yep, then I moved back.
Mm-hmm. And then the old boar moved in.
Yes.
Arthur, we called him. The man down in the basement. Arthur? Oh, my God. I tell you what, that was one guy. You forget he was your father-in-law half the time because of the shit we'd talk about. And remember, oh, God, I don't even know what you're talking about. Remember that crazy lady that showed up?
I
And
do.
nothing but a trench coat at the Green Lantern place?
I do.
Holy shit.
Remember, not only did she only show up in a trench coat, and then he opens the door and she drops the trench coat, he already had somebody else.
Yeah, he had that other gal.
in
He's
the
like,
apartment.
this is not going to work tonight.
Yeah.
And she was pissed. She was pissed. You know, we went to that charity auction the other day and we were bidding on all them guns. And Katie went and she's never been to one. You know, your dad won all them Ducks Unlimited guns. She goes, I thought he was just lucky. I said, no, he spent about 10 grand on tickets.
Yeah.
She's like, holy shit. I mean, every year he come home with a gun.
That is one thing. I don't think he ever told anybody no. We still get mail in his name, and it's always everybody's asking for money.
Oh, yeah. You know, I was going to ask you the other day, you were talking about your dad's knee getting bashed in. Remember when your dad got smashed in the Jergens parking lot? Was that in your sweet-ass slide door trailer you had?
No, I don't remember.
Remember there was somebody was broke down and they were switching. That's when your dad got folded up bad. That's when he actually moved in with us. He was switching and he didn't have that corral gate into the corner. He was loading the nose. Remember it bashed him up in there, and then all the trailers you guys ordered from then coming out, he had that extra corral, but I thought he was in that goddamn slide trailer you had.
Gotcha. Boy, I don't know.
Who dropped the pigs out of the back of that damn thing, didn't have it latched?
Me.
Was that you?
Yeah, that was my...
Oh, I vividly remember.
I went and picked that trailer up and I drove to Perrington, Texas to load feeder pigs. And down there it was a depot. So they loaded them off the farm and then they brought them into the depot and they ran them through the alleyway. Well, I remember following the ones on the back end. I remember following them up the chute and I just grabbed that door and I slid it shut and I didn't latch it. Very first load, slid it shut. Driving across the parking lot to the scale. Yeah. I got to the scale and there was just feeder pigs.
I remember getting pictures
all across the parking lot. I was like, that was a lesson. Yeah, that sliding door is going to come open if you don't latch it.
Yes. That stupid pin in that thing. And then it'd be froze and the shit was in the trash.
Yep. That is exactly right. That is 100% right.
Jesus. You know, talking about you were loading that sail barn, no fin lights. And I'll never forget one time your dad called Friday, of course, and we had to go down to somewhere in Missouri. Anyways, no lights, nobody's there, and we were loading bulls to go back to Omaha. But he said, you got to put them all up front. I said, don't you normally put them on the back? He said, nope, because then you're going to go load. We went somewhere else, put feeders on, and he wanted me to come through Carroll, dump the feeders,
gotcha.
The bulls out. I couldn't get these things. Couldn't find lights. We're out there, Katie, me with flashlights. Shit show. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yep.
She's screaming at me, obviously. This drunk shows up. Run the sail barn here, and he flips the lights on, and he's rammed them up. I didn't even have the top gate open yet. The ramp was down, but I was just walking in the trailer, going to jump up top. Have a bull come on that trailer like a buffalo. And that guy standing at the bottom, and it runs him over and shatters his leg shatters it. And I called your dad, and I was like, listen, this is what happened. I literally was in the trailer. That guy decided to ram it up. He's pissed drunk. What do you want me to do? He's like, call him the ambulance. Get the shit loaded and get out of there. And I don't know how many tries it took me, but I got him on there.
Right.
I told Katie, I said, if this ain't a full-blown Behrens cloud story. It just shattered. That thing hit him against that gate, and just the bone was, oh my God, it was gross. I just remember, like, where the fuck are the lights? You couldn't see nothing.
No, that is one thing that sucks about them sale barns at night. I mean, you don't know nothing about them barns. There's lights somewhere, you know, but where? It's hard to say where the switch
Not
is.
a big sign for you backed up against shoot. Hey, drivers, switch around corner. Please shut off when you leave.
Yep, exactly. It was not that way.
All right. Well, should we actually wrap it up this time?
I think we probably should.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like
Sounds good.
Definitely an interesting 23 years knowing the family. I got my two hellholes to thank Smoke and his sister's piece of shit Kia Sophia.
Go Kia.
And your dad's back blowing out.
Yep.
I almost want to buy her for our 20th wedding anniversary next year, a Kia Sophia. The green one, motor knock. I remember we traded that thing in for your mom's that morning. We were dumping the STP shit out of your side box of the semi in there to keep the valves from seizing up.
Was it the Kia first or the Impala? Because that Impala was the biggest.
We traded the Kia for the Impala. That thing about broke us with all the
Remember how big of a pile?
Yes. The heated seat caught fire when she was driving down
that Impala was. Oh, my God.
And she talked me into the Pontiac Torrent. It was our first new car. And that thing was a pile of shit, but boy, we were proud of that plastic thing.
Well, it was brand new, man.
Yeah.
Should have been proud. Not everybody's buying brand new cars. And you're like 21 or 2.
Yeah, probably.
Just broke as broke can be.
Hey, gave you a reason to get up, go trucking.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
It's hard to get out of bed without payments. Get that tattooed on your forehead.
All right.
Thanks for being here, Mark.
Yeah.
It was, as always,
we're
interesting.
just scratching the surface. Did you guys ever touch on your dad's buffalo raising experience, how that lasted a whole 30 minutes before Bruce had to shoot that one out in the cornfield?
We-
Oh, Lord.
Put that down as a note.
Make
for
that a
another
note for
podcast.
next time. Like, I feel like we need a segment on just Jeffy stories.
Yep.
Jeff stories. Yeah, no
you know,
doubt.
with the predator hunt, how many phone calls have I got from between you and your dad? Hey, do you have your gun in your truck? That last time, Teddy Aisha, I had to come pull me out of the field and buried it up. He's like, if it hits the highway, we're screwed.
Well, Mark,
I'm sure this won't be our last trip. We didn't even scratch the surface.
we
on
did
the
not
stories.
even scratch the surface, and we're a ways in. I mean, we got stories.
For 23 years of being the outsider looking in and getting roped in and shit back out and roped in. I've seen it all.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Rural Dispatch. I hope you found something valuable to take back to your own operation. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. You can keep up with me between episodes on socials at Behrens & Co. or join our email list on our website to get new episodes delivered straight to your inbox every Wednesday. Until next time, keep those wheels turning. We'll talk soon.